Hello and welcome to this webinar from NMIS-Skills. I'm Lewis Ross and to my left is
Joe Wilson, and nice to see you again.
Yeah, indeed. We're now on the 6th of our webinar series, which is quite a lot. And today we're going to be mainly talking about YouTube and how you can use it in your teaching. I'll say before we get started, all the slides for this presentation are available on nmis-skills.org, where you'll also find links to join the forums, to join in the discussions there. And we'll also have some discussions in the webinar itself. So if you want to join in the chats, just click on the chat button that you'll have there and type away and we'll get to you when we can. So with no further ado, I will open up our presentation and we'll get going.
I think you'll also find as you go along that the model that we're using for NMIS skills, where we do have a dedicated YouTube channel, which we'll show you at the end, where we're doing webinars like this and capturing and storing them, is something that you could adopt in your own teaching and learning. Anyway, to today's learning objectives. What we're going to have a look at today is to understand how to embed a range of digital technologies to enhance learning and teaching and assessment. We're going to develop ideas of how to use online videos in a teaching and learning environment. So we're going to look at YouTube and the tools that come along with it. And we're going to look at how you understand how to integrate assessment within videos. So it's also that bit of embedding assessment in a video.
Mm-hmm. So the main thing we're going to be talking about today is YouTube, and it might be something that you've used in your private life, just watching some fun videos, some cat videos, some dog videos in my case most of the time, or you might have already used it even in some education, or it could be a case of it's what your kids are all raving about because it's where a lot of people consume their content nowadays is on YouTube. So you might have heard some of these terms, but what we're going to do is go through and really define them so you know what they are. So in YouTube, it's basically based upon having channels, and it can be a bit confusing because you might think of it as like the old school television way of thinking of channels, where it's like a BBC One where it has a suite of different programs on it. In YouTube, a channel tends to be focused on one specific topic or related topics. So for example, the channel I've got here in the background is a channel called Kurzgesagt, which is a science kind of channel. They do really beautiful animations about really high concept science topics. I'll quickly show you this channel so you can see what I'm talking about. And so their whole thing is doing these amazing videos, which I'll just make sure my audio's off because we'll get some autoplays happening, about things like strange stars and what would happen if you set off all the atom bombs. And similarly, we have a YouTube channel, NMIS-Skills. Here it is. You should hopefully have seen this already. If not, you can get it on YouTube by doing a search for NMIS-Skills. And we focus all our stuff on our topics of digital skills.
And you'll find that YouTube channel too, if you go to the NMIS homepage and just click across, you'll find the YouTube channel. And we've started the process of identifying relevant content, first of all around digital skills, and the channels from our NMIS partners. And much of the materials that we've put in both the channels, and you'll discover playlists in a minute or two, really cover the program and also begin to cover manufacturing 4.02.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the main features you'll see on our channel is when you get to it, there'll be a home page, which will probably highlight some of their content. There'll probably be a lot of time a trailer that will automatically play, which is why I've just had to mute my audio there. And then you can get at the channel's videos by clicking on the channels tab, seeing what they've got there. And there's also playlists, which we'll cover in a bit. But that's the kind of the main thing to know about channels, is that they are kind of a specific topic. And when you've got your channel as well, if you're uploading things to your own personal channel, so you can create a personal channel where it's just videos that you want to use and do stuff with. You also get a second type of channel called a brand channel. This is where things start to get a bit more complex. So a personal channel, one person owns it. So it's just me for uploading my stuff, my teaching content. Or a brand channel can be a group-owned one, so you can have multiple people uploading to it and manage it, which is what our NMIS-Skills one is. So I can upload videos, Joe can upload videos, the other members of the team can upload videos as well. So those are the two main types of channels.
And I think that bit for collaborative learning or working as a team, then for lots of education departments or even a private training company, then a brand channel is a useful thing to have.
Yeah. And one of the other things to bear in mind with YouTube is that it doesn't have to be public. A lot of people think of YouTube as these public videos. You can also, when uploading a video, set it as private so that only people have access to your channel that can log into the channel can view it. So that could be just yourself if you've made it private on a personal channel, or just the managers of a brand's channel. You can also set a video to be unlisted, which means you won't find it on YouTube by doing a search for it, but anyone who has a link to the video can watch it, which is really useful if you're doing educational videos that you're worried about who can watch them.
And I think from the point of view of a learner, if it's something that they're being assessed upon, they might not want other people to see it, but they may need the tutor to see it. So this is how you can use YouTube in assessment, and we'll chat more about that later on.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the general concept of what a channel is and what it can be used for. What you probably come here for is you want to know some really good channels that you can use in your teaching, and we've got a few examples of them now. So one of the ones that I really love, I watch this a lot in my personal life. I studied as an engineer originally, an electronics engineer, and still love learning about engineering, different concepts in engineering. There's this really good channel called Real Engineering. It's by a guy who's from Ireland, and I don't know his real name, which is a shame because it would be really nice to know for Brian. Oh wait, his name is Brian McManus. There we go, because that's his other personal channel. And he does videos about big concepts in engineering. So if I just open up the videos thing, we can see some of the things he's done recently. He just did a really interesting one about America's program to build a nuclear-powered aircraft, which failed for reasons you can probably figure out for yourself. But he also does a lot of things like looking at the logistics of building a drone delivery system in Rwanda. That's a really, really interesting video, talking about how engineering is not just building a vehicle, it's thinking about larger scale things like logistics. How do you deliver products? How do you build a network to get those products out? And he's also done some other great videos about like vinyl, how that works, algorithms such as how Shazam works. And he's even done very kind of basic engineering things like materials 101, like why is steel different from aluminium, what are the properties of those things. So that can be really useful if you're teaching someone about engineering things, basics, or if you want to start thinking about those bigger concepts in engineering. He's got some really good videos about that stuff. I really love this channel. It's one I always show to anyone who's interested in engineering. Yeah, so second channel I'm going to show you is called Veritasium. Now this is a kind of a more science-based channel. This is kind of a lot about big concepts in science. So if I can get the videos to open, I can show you some of those latest ones. So looking at the first image of a black hole, you might have seen that in the media recently.
I thought it looked like a logo, and because the logo is about to appear, the logo of the universe.
I'm a complete science nerd, so I was super excited by this image and what it all means, and like proving all these hypotheses that have been around for a while. So he looks at stuff like that. He looks at obviously how to understand black holes. He looks at other cool things like why is plasma formed when you microwave a grape. Really cool video. I've got a direct link to that one in the slides, so if you want to go and view that one in your own time. So really good practical examples of science and the phenomenon. And he's also got a lot of interviews with scientists and experts. So that could be really useful if you're talking about a subject, you want to bring in some expert knowledge, but you don't necessarily know anyone in that field. YouTube's great for finding stuff like that. And the final channel we want to highlight is called Khan Academy, which I know Joe is a fan of.
Yeah, I'll chat about it in a minute, but it's worth knowing that the Global Teacher of the Year a couple of years ago was a maths teacher. And that maths teacher was simply delivering revision clips and support to their learners on YouTube, which then went viral, and then eventually the maths teacher got recognition as being the Global Teacher of the Year. So from acorns grow tall oaks. The Khan Academy I particularly like, but I think the important thing is that you see that it's more than just this YouTube video channel. So have a look around the YouTube video channel. Great for all kinds of maths, physics, engineering, revision, of going over these concepts that a learner perhaps hasn't interpreted them correctly by the way you teach. Here's a range of alternative ways for them to get and to pick up the theory. But they should also go and have a look at the Khan Academy website, because as well as the YouTube clips, the Khan Academy website actually has a whole lot of exercises, practical exercises that learners can do, and actually a lot of the exercises can be marked online automatically, so it will give a learner a lot more confidence. So in a way, I was worried about showing the just the Khan Academy YouTube clip, YouTube site, because a lot of teachers I introduced Khan Academy to are aware of the video channel, but just think Khan Academy is a collection of videos. It's actually a much richer resource than just the videos that you're seeing here.
Mm-hmm. And another advantage of using videos, like Joe spoke about a few there, is that it's a lot of younger students are very used to going onto YouTube to find stuff out. It's something I do in my spare time as well. I'm very interested in history, so I'll go and look up videos on history from people who I know are really good on YouTube. And similarly, you can kind of then integrate these kind of educational videos of the topic you're teaching into that student's spare time. So they might get really interested in these channels and start deep diving into their background videos, going and watching stuff when they're just at home and playing about, and then just gaining that extra knowledge. And it helps to build that kind of real excitement for the subject of knowing there's a bigger space apart from just what you're teaching in your classroom or your workshop group or however you're teaching. So,
just provides a different dimension to learning. And again, one of the things you might challenge your learners to do is to make some YouTube clips to teach their peers, to teach other learners.
Yeah, I'll just close a few of these windows so we don't have tons of things getting in the way of my things. Yeah, so there's a few channel examples that you can look at. What we'd be interested from you in the chat is, are there any engineering or manufacturing channels you found useful? Or we'll open it up to a bit wider. Are there any kind of YouTube channels that you found really useful in general? I'll open up the chat and see if we've got anyone commenting at the moment. I'll say, like, some of the YouTube channels I really like are, it can just be individuals as well, individual videos. You don't have to use an entire channel. It could be just going and find a video that covers a concept really well. So I found one when I was teaching evolution as I was a physics teacher, but we had to do evolution as one of the topics for the lower grades. And there were some really great videos that were produced by, I think it was, now I have to remember now. I think it was the University of Central Florida, but it might have been someone else, but they do very good online stuff, where they've done some amazing animations of showing animals as they move from one species to the next and why that would change. So the classic example is a horse. A horse starts out as this weird little bog-dwelling creature that has really big spread out feet because it has to live in a bog. And then its feet get slowly more like hooves as it starts to live in plains, and that's more advantageous. So that was a really good kind of video that I used for that. Are there any other kind of YouTube channels or videos you use, Joe?
I use a whole raft of things. I think my proudest accomplishment is actually using a YouTube channel on DIY that allowed me to fix our household dishwasher, much to my wife's complete surprise, because generally I'm completely handless when it comes to tasks like that. But I found a YouTube clip where it played the same noise that our dishwasher was making and the same model, and I found out how to sort it, which was to dig in, take different bits apart and find a wee bit of broken glass, and it was exactly the same, a wee bit of broken glass in the filter, which I then removed and put everything back together, and the dishwasher stopped making that noise. But I use a whole host of other things, but that's just quite a practical example.
Yeah,
I think over the course of the series of things, series of webinars, we'll add more and more resources to the NMIS resource. We're also going to speak to learners too. Learners are often the best placed in identifying useful YouTube channels and videos. So while we're speaking largely to an audience of teachers, lecturers, and training providers, we will have some conversations with students in this area too, because we know they use a rich set of resources in this area.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll move on to something that we mentioned earlier, which is playlists. So playlists are basically the same as you'd have a playlist of your favorite music. You want to put together a bunch of different songs that work well together. You can do the same in YouTube with videos, a bunch of videos that are in a theme. So we've put together themed video playlists for each of our different webinar themes. So in the background of this slide, you can see the one on digital learning design, so some videos about that. And it's also a way for you to collect together videos for later. It's almost like bookmarks. So it doesn't have to be themed. It could just be a collection of things I'm going to use later and stuff. So what I'll do is I'll show you how easy it is to make one of these. So if I can fight with my browser to get there, let's get to.
As Lewis is calling this up, it is so easy to do this, but it's often the case that staff just don't know that this facility exists.
Mm-hmm. So what I have here is I've got a video from Kurzgesagt on strange stars. And let's say I want to make a playlist that involves this video. Well, all I have to do is hit add to. It will bring up all my existing playlists. I'll get our video out of the way so you can see this a bit better. Here's all the existing playlists we have already. There's a watch later one, which comes as standard, which you can just put any videos into that you want to watch later, strangely enough. Or I can hit create new playlist. Let's just hit it there. And we're going to call it astronomy, which might not be how it's spelled. Sorry if I've misspelled that there. I can choose if it's going to be a public playlist, so anyone who comes to my channel can see it. An unlisted one, so people would need to link to it, or private, so only for me. We'll keep it public for the moment. And then I hit create. And it's that simple. That's that playlist created. So I can then go and find some other videos. Let's go back to the Kurzgesagt channel, and we'll just grab another random video and we'll add it on as well.
And as Lewis is adding this, of course, if you've got a branded channel, then this could be a collaborative activity. It could be different staff adding things onto playlists. So quite quickly and quite efficiently, you can build up quite a rich and useful resource.
Yeah. So here you see I've got my astronomy one. I just click that again, and boom, that's added. So if I go back to my channel, here we go. Click on my channel. We'll now see in our playlist section, we'll have an astronomy playlist. So if I go down here on my channel to playlists, here it is, and here's our astronomy playlist along with all our others. If I open that up, you'll see, here we go, we've got 2 videos, and we can sit and watch through them all. And we can also just grab this URL here, send it to anyone we want to be able to see the playlist. So you can share it really quick, really easy.
And I should add, often when I talk to teaching staff about having a YouTube channel or having YouTube playlists, they immediately go into a blind panic, because what they think I'm asking them to do is a lot of speaking to camera like this to put together some showreel of them teaching things. But actually, playlists and channels can really just be a collection of all these useful things that you can use with your students.
So I'll highlight on our NMIS channel as well there. We've got our playlists here, so do give them a watch if you're interested in some of the things we've been talking about. You can go in and find them by going to our channel and clicking playlists. That's where they reside. We've also got links to them on the NMIS-Skills website. If you go to the program section and then the section you're interested in, say online collaboration, there's then a link to the playlist there as well. So you can get all those videos, have a bit of a deep dive into a topic. Really
and if you see something useful that you think we're missing, let us know, and we'll add it to the channel.
Indeed. So very quick and easy to use. We'll also I'll also mention that you can add notes to your playlists, which are kind of private notes for yourself. So that can be quite useful if you're building for use in a class. You want to keep a note to remind yourself what they are. You can add a private note to it as well. So you know maybe the timestamp you want to go to, things like that. Okay, so one of the other things with YouTube is you may be thinking, okay, this is all well and good, it's all video content, but what about my learners who have got hearing problems? Can they still engage with this on the same level? The answer is yes. YouTube has some very good automatic captioning built into it, where it'll automatically transcribe any videos you put on and any that are on there. And it also allows you to upload your own transcriptions. I'll just quickly show you this. So let's go to our videos. Let's go for our old one. So this is one we just did. You'll see that once it gets playing, there we are again. Oh my God, it's us and us. This is a bit strange. If I click close captions, it'll turn them on, and you'll see there it is creating those captions. I didn't have to create that myself at all. It did it automatically.
So there is instant accessibility. What we do have to remember, though, is our distinctive Scottish accents and the accent that we do have, and it doesn't always pick us up absolutely exactly. So there is a wee exercise that's needed to be done, which is just scanning through the autocue, the text it generates, to make sure that what's coming up along the bottom is what we're actually seeing.
Indeed. I'll quickly show that in a second, but I want to show one other cool feature with the captions as well, is that you'll see if I go to the options for the captions, it says auto-generated English. I can also go to auto-translate and pick a language, and it will translate it. Again, auto-translate things are never perfect, but you can use it as a kind of a stopgap. If you've got someone in your class who's having trouble understanding the English, you could use that and give it a go. Again, it won't pick up on the subtleties of idioms and stuff like that a lot of the time, so be careful with it, but it can be good. But what I'll show you now is, as Joe was saying, there is a bit of a thing of making sure that your captions are up to date. So what we'll do is we'll go into our video here. Just open this up. Never likes my first click. And we'll go into advanced. And if I can find the captioning file. So we can also upload our own subtitles or captions if we want to do that, and also download them. But what I can do is if I click edit, I can also get into the exact captioning file that's used on the video, and I can edit them as well. So if I go edit, there's quite a few button presses to get here. Okay, so now I've got the captions here and I can go in and change them. So if I wanted to change the spelling of dot, I could. So it's a really good feature, so you can get in there, edit the files if something has gone wrong with the auto captioning, and you don't need to be an expert in listening and captioning at the same time. You can just go through and correct what's there already, because being a good captioner is a full-time job. So it's a hard thing to do, I won't say otherwise, but this makes it a lot easier being able to just go in and correct mistakes. So that's a facility worth looking into if you're wanting to improve the captioning in YouTube. There's also any video you can upload, there's a little option you can tick that will allow fan-submitted subtitles. So if you've got a channel that's becoming really popular and you're getting an international market and you've got some people in Spain who are like, this is brilliant, but I want my students to be able to understand it, but they don't speak English, they can actually write their own caption file and upload it if you put that option on. Really, really great facility, especially for if you've got a good international audience.
And I think increasingly there'll be a lot of engineering in our projects where you will have an international audience, and just as they'll want to see a translation of your work, you'll want to see a translation of their work.
Indeed. One thing worth mentioning again is, we've talked about this before, but Google Slides has an auto captioning facility as well. So if you're not uploading to YouTube with the auto caption, you're uploading to a different video platform. If you're making a presentation in Google Slides, I'll show this before, but I'll quickly show it again. I can click this button here and it'll start doing the auto captioning. So you could record your video using Loom or Zoom to do your screencast, grab the captioning in here, and then it's automatically part of the video for when you upload it to your service. So very, very useful thing to have there.
And you can change it around too. And actually, just for full completion, the news version of PowerPoint also includes captioning too.
Yeah, it's an increasing thing, it seems, of having this voice recognition captioning, especially with the latest EU accessibility regulations, mean that you have to make sure that any content you are providing is accessible to people with hearing needs or other accessibility needs. So very worth seeing there. Okay, we're going to have a quick discussion on while watching tasks, because you might be saying all these videos are great, but how do I actually integrate this into my lessons?
And we had a wee discussion before we started about that, even that term, while watching tasks. While watching tasks are things that you might set up before somebody watches something and that they complete at the conclusion of them watching something. But actually, you should probably, unless it's a prolonged bit of video, you should try not to give them tasks that they have to do while watching, because it could be a distractor.
Yeah, I think the idea with this is it's a task you set up beforehand so they know what they're looking for. So it could be, right, I want you to remember the exact formula that gets mentioned in here. So you're focusing them, because that's the idea with these tasks, is you're focusing on the part of the video that you're interested in. You're giving them a reason to watch it. It's not just, hey, it's fun video time, we can all turn our brains off and not pay attention. There's actually a purpose to this. As in all these technologies we always mention, you're building it into your lesson for an objective. You're not just grabbing it because it's a cool thing. You want to make sure it's embedded in your pedagogy, your teaching design. Yeah, so you can also use it to highlight concepts in the video, as we said. And one thing, you might not want to use an entire 10-minute video. You only want a few seconds of that video. One thing you can do is, let's get back to my YouTube channel. If I can remember where the button is, let's move my channel. Okay, so when we go to a YouTube video, we've got some options where we can click on to get links for various social media things. So here we are. I found that it's actually at 3:50 in this video that I want people to pay attention. So when I hit the share button below here, it will open up a little link. I've got various buttons I can press that will allow me to embed it in things. But there's this button here as well, start at 3:50. You'll see the URL's changed. So now we can use that exact link to give to people to focus them on where you want the video to start. You don't have to go scanning through and trying to find the bit. You've got that link, so you instantly start the learning at the point you want it to, and then you can stop the video when you're done, so you're not wasting time in your lessons.
And you can think in lots and lots of contexts where that's really, really useful. That type of bookmarking that will draw the learner to the exact point where the learning point is being made.
Mm-hmm.
You can also embed questions in YouTube itself, but that's a slightly more complex task.
Yeah, and that is in fact what we are about to talk about in a second. So I'll just move us on. But before we get to that, we're going to have another little discussion about what types of while watching activities would you assign to a video. Well, I've already kind of mentioned before of that idea of focusing them on looking for an individual formula. One of the things that I found useful as well when I was teaching evolution was to try and get them to, like, while they're watching the video, thinking, right, at the end of this, you're going to be drawing a diagram showing how that horse's foot changed. So think about what it looked like before and at the end, and then when we finish, you're going to try and draw that diagram from memory, effectively. But it was a quick exercise. It wasn't, we're going to draw beautiful pictures. It's like, we're going to try and do this so we get those general concepts. And that's how you can see, have they got those concepts that we were looking for, or were they not paying attention?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that time is a lot of the time is trying to draw out learners so that they're explaining what they're learning from what they're seeing, so that you know that deep learning is happening. Yeah,
exactly. So it's kind of trying to, a lot of it is just, again, think about what your learning objective is. We can't say this is the task to do with a video, because it'll really depend on what your objective is. Are you just trying to get some small pieces of knowledge? Are you trying to bridge it to a discussion? So if you're doing something where you're going to have a debate at the end of it, you could say to one half of your class, right, I want you to look at the examples of what is good about nuclear energy. Okay, this half of the class, you're going to look at what's bad about nuclear energy. Think about those facts, and we're going to use it in a debate. It's another great way to use videos, is to spur debates in the classroom.
And the kind of videos that you're using will dictate that too. Sometimes actually the video might be of a working piece of machinery, or it might be of a theoretical model running. So there's a whole range of different video content that you can use, that you can bring into your lessons.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on, because the next thing we're going to be talking about is pretty exciting. So, as Joe mentioned before, trying to integrate questions into a video and making it interactive. So this could be for more doing your flipped learning, so where you're not using it in the classroom, so you can't quite dictate what they're going to do, but you can have it so the video will stop at certain periods and ask them a direct question. So you're getting that instant knowledge feedback. And the tool we use to do this here is a thing called H5P. H5P does numerous things. It's kind of take me too long to talk about all of them here today.
And we've got it linked in other bits of the NMIS website. And if you're not familiar with H5P, go and have a look at H5P's website. A whole raft of tools that help you do interactive things with learning content and bring it, import it back into your virtual learning environment, or indeed make it freestanding inside things like WordPress.
Yeah, because it can be embedded on anything that has HTML, for those of you with a bit of technical knowledge. So it's a very, very useful tool, and it's free as well. You just log in with an account. I've logged in with mine here, and then I can start creating. So I've got here, I'm going to create content. I've got a whole bunch of different things I can do, but what we want to do is an interactive video. So I click on the, I've minimized my window. There we go. I click on the link there to start the interactive video. First of all, I need a video link. So let's jump back to my NMIS channel, and we'll grab the video link there. And we add that. So here we go, paste in our YouTube link, insert. It's got the video. And what we do next is add interactions. So here we go. Here's our video, and we can just start. I don't know why it keeps minimizing. We can start adding our interactions in. So let's pick a point. Let's go here. That'll do. And then I just need to pick one from the top here. What kind of interaction would you like, Joe? Multiple choice, single set choice?
Perhaps I just see your name at the bottom.
Yeah.
Perhaps we could ask simply who the presenter is.
Ah, good question there. So I'll pause it. We'll then go to the top and we'll ask a multiple choice question. So I click on the thing here. It brings up my interactions for the multiple choice question. I put in my question. Who are the presenters?
Yeah.
Because you're just as important, Joe.
Oh, thank you very much.
Don't put yourself down. So we can put in options.
Well, this is the bit I'm more worried about.
Yeah.
What are the distractors?
So Joe and Lewis.
Yep.
That's obviously going to be the correct one. So we just take that. Is it Lewis and John?
Correct. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And then we can add one more option, and it is I can't think of
Joe and John.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So I was trying to think of a name that started with L but isn't Lewis, and I failed, which is kind of telling. Okay, so we just hit done, and that's our interaction is put in there, and then we can start moving along, adding in different ones. So it's basically that simple. You're just dealing with like clicking a button, drag and drop. Really simple. If I go, whoops, and we can also do lots of kind of complex stuff as well. We can say what time the video should start at, should it autoplay, should it loop around to give people a second try. Lots of really kind of in-depth options we have in there.
So in other words, once you have a layer of content, you can overlay these questions and things to make something that's actually quite a sophisticated learning tool. And these tools are free.
Yeah, I will just put in a title for this because I forgot to do that. So we'll call it NMIS video and we'll save it, and then we'll have a quick preview of it. So here we go. Just going to quickly save it. Here is our video. My screen size is a bit small for this, annoyingly. We'll just get rid of that survey and we'll play, and we'll see that when we get to this point in the video, it will pop up a question for us. So we'll just let it play in the background while it does that. And then, so you can build in lots of questions. It's not just true or false. There's lots of different options. You can have it pop up text boxes. So if you want to pause the video and give them a bit more extra information about a certain topic that's in there, if you want it to do other things, here we go. Here's our interaction. We need to quickly choose who is it going to be. It's Joe and Lewis. Check. Yay, we got it correct. And it's just that simple, and you can set it so it'll pause the video automatically. It won't play until they get it correct, so you can make sure that they're going to get that information. You can build in different types of questions, so you can have drag and drop ones, fill in the blanks, lots of different stuff. Really useful tool for just turning a video into a more interactive experience for your students. Really great tool. I recommend you to go and have a go of it yourself, because we could only show you it briefly there. But there's a lot more H5P can do. We might even do a whole webinar on H5P.
I think we'll probably do a whole webinar on H5P. And the other thing is it's also accessible. It's got a whole lot of it. If you do a search for it, you'll find that it passes a whole lot of accessibility tests too. So it's not just content creation for its own sake. Mm-hmm. It creates interactive content and it passes a lot of the accessibility tests too.
It's really good. Okay, so our teaching challenge for this week, our little thing to get you to go out and use a bit of technology, is to go and create an interactive video with H5P. We just quickly showed you it there, but when you go to the site, you'll see there's really good tutorials that will take you through exactly how to use it. So if it looked a bit confusing for you at first, have a look at those tutorials. They will step by step take it through and show you how to make a first one.
What you might be asking is you might be using a video and asking people what the engineering or the principles of physics or are lying behind the video that you present your learners with.
Mm-hmm. So also on our forums, go onto NMIS-Skills.org, go to the community section and then click on forums, and you'll be able to join our Google group and get access to the forums. What we'd like you to discuss is which videos and playlists have you found useful? So this could be on YouTube, it could be on different services that you use, but just try and share some videos that you found really useful for your teaching of engineering and manufacturing and stuff.
And if you're happy to share, if you've got some content of your own, let us know where it is and we'll add it to channel and our playlists, so that we're sharing things really across the university, college and training sectors in Scotland.
Yeah, because you are the experts in your field, so we want to know what you use so we can help share it out to other people. Okay, so let me, yeah, there we go. Sorry, just hitting buttons. So finally, these are the credits for this presentation, so you can see how we built it and all. So this is the kind of 6th one. We're working on some other webinars, which we'll hopefully have presented for you soon. Until then, keep an eye out on the website, NMIS-Skills.org. Lots of useful information. We're adding more and more there, as Joe was saying, of links and stuff. Get involved in the Ambassadors program as well. You can find that in the community section. If you want to get involved as an ambassador, we basically want contacts to universities and stuff. Joe, you want to talk about that? You're the expert on the ambassador side of things.
Yeah, so I mean, the main thing about the ambassador program is it gives you access to the full Google education suite of tools, and you may not have access to that full suite of tools within your college or your university or within your training provider. So it really gives you the opportunity, first of all, to become an ambassador and network with people like you across the sector, but it also gives you access to a range of tools that you may not normally have access to, and that includes things like Google Classroom and a range of other tools.
Yeah, and it's just, you basically need to fill out this form, this ambassador sign up form. It'll go to us. We'll have a look at it, and then once everything's approved and good to go, we'll send you out a login so you can get access to those tools. I think that's everything for today. We've had a good look at YouTube. Hopefully you found that really interesting and useful for your teaching practice. Get on the forums, get asking questions, and hopefully we'll see you at the next webinar.
And get making some playlists.
Yes, indeed.
See you next time. Bye-bye now.